taxes, keeping my book straight, running a profit and loss statement, it all gets so confusing. I used to spend more time trying to worry about my taxes and if I'm doing them right than I actually did working on my business. I needed a solution. That is when I found Core Financial. Core is a team of tax professionals that actually care about real relationships with their clients. From the moment I hired Core, I was able to trust that I will be fully taken care of. They run my books, keep me up to date with my finances, and make sure I'm taking full advantage of all the tax breaks I qualify for. Are you struggling to understand your finances? Do you need help making sure you don't make any mistakes? Look no further. Core Financial. Both Nick and I are huge fans of Core Financial, and we know you will be too. Check out howtofilmweddings.com/core to see what they can do for you. Core Financial. Real relationships, no surprises.
Also, just something I want to encourage our community in is just to evaluate what it is that you want from your company, and also don't push that on other people, because it's at the end of the day, like, your monthly expenses could be 5 times the amount of someone else's, and so what makes sense for you might not make sense for other people.
Hello and welcome to the How to Film Weddings podcast. My name is John Bunn. Today I'm joined, believe it or not, by my good friend, Mr. Nick Miller. Nick, we're quarantined, we're stuck in the same spot, but that's okay because something awesome happened today. But before that, how are you? What are you up to? How you holding up?
I'm good. Quarantined to my house. Our city just passed a stay at home for the next 30 days thing, except for essential goods, going to the grocery store and that kind of thing. So we're at home. But I had a wedding in February that is already edited and sent off. Feeling good about that. So staying home, staying healthy. Those are the big 2 things, getting as much done as I can. But
Yes.
Today on our podcast, we had some of our favorite people that we've had on the podcast. And that is Calen and Kristine Rhome of Reverie. So good to catch up with them. So good to talk with them. They're just fun people. I like them.
I'm going to be honest. It's always so fun to hang out with them. I mean, they're good buddies, and there was leopard print. We talked about venture workshop. We talked about branding. We talked about work-life balance. It was a really awesome conversation. It's always really refreshing to chat with them. And we are so excited for you to get to listen in on this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast. All right. Well, welcome the one and only White and Reverie back to the How to Film Weddings podcast. How are you, my friends? What's new in your world?
What's up? We are enjoying the quarantine life, and we're just deciding to wear what's most comfortable. So this is kind of our normal attire on a daily.
We're really glad that loungewear hit the fashion market really strong over the past winter season, because we stocked up. We're ready for the loungewear life.
All the people listening have no clue, but if you watch the actual visual of this, then you'll understand.
Oh yeah,
it's very true. All I have to say is there's leopard print aplenty on my screen right now. It looks great. And we are pumped to have you guys back on. Our most famous guests ever, Nick. I'm just saying.
Probably.
Nah.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Well, thanks for having us back, guys.
Thanks for having us back. We're honored.
Yeah.
Love it. Love you guys. Support you guys.
Of course. And it's been a little over a year since we had you guys on. We were talking about that before we hit record. Since then, we've all become best of friends, so that's neat. But
that's
we
pretty
just
neat.
We're best friends. Just come on.
Just kidding.
Why you gotta look at it like that, man? That hurts. So we're in the middle of quarantine. You guys are in your loungewear. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's been going on with you besides just staying at home? It's been a year. What's new? What have you guys been up to? What's new in your world?
Yeah, you take it.
New? Oh, I was gonna say you take it.
Okay. So last year, this time, we were preparing for our wedding season, which pretty much started in May last year. And we ended up having about 12 weddings in a 3-month span. We had a lot of weddings that we had booked for one of our associate shooters and ended up taking on those weddings. So it was our first year we actually experienced filming on the same weekend at different weddings with other second shooters. I think we've been in the business for about over 8 years. And that was the first time we ever had to split up. And so that was unique. Wasn't as exciting because we really thrive off each other's energy. We still had an awesome crew of assistants and other people that shoot with us. So it was still fun. But it was about 3 or 4 weddings where we had to split up. And so we kind of were saturated with our market from technically June through September. And then we were pretty much done for the year. So it was all at one span of time. And I guess at this point we're finishing up like one last wedding from last year, and then we'll be kind of pretty much caught up, which is exciting to say.
Yeah, super exciting.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so-
definitely.
You guys did it. I saw that you guys were traveling, doing a bunch of different stuff. I saw a lot of changes with the way your films looked, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. I definitely want to get into that. As of today, as of recording, we are all kind of on lockdown. What does daily life? What does daily life look like for you? Like at home? Are you guys just at home? Have you left? What's going on?
Yeah. So, well, we actually, I think it was the week that things started getting really crazy. We actually had a wedding that Saturday, and we were supposed to go to LA. So we hop on the plane. We actually text the coordinator that we were talking to right before getting on the plane. Like, hey, we just want to make sure, should we still be coming? And as of then, the wedding was still on, because I felt like it just like within like every 12 hours, it felt like everything was changing so fast.
Mm-hmm.
So we flew out to LA, had to fly back the next day.
So within 24 hours from the wedding, we got the call, hey, we're having to
canceled.
postpone the wedding. Sorry. And we're like already out in LA. So we had to book flights that night back to home. And
I feel like that was when it really set in that this is like getting really real for America right now, or for the United States. And so, so it's been since then, just seeing how serious it was getting, like that over like the course of every like couple hours, we just like hunkered in. So we've been like hunkered in since the 14th. What are we on? Like, we've left the house maybe 4 times total.
Yeah.
And most of those times have just been like to get groceries and essentials. And so we've
obeying the law. We're trying to stick within the law.
Life hasn't looked very different since before quarantine, I guess.
Well, the only disadvantage and advantage is we have a lot more time to spend with our daughter, which we absolutely love. But she is also 3.5 to 4, and her mind is expanding in imagination, and wants us to play multiple characters and role play everything with her. And because she does not have any siblings, it makes us become the object of the additional role play characters. And so
we both
constantly,
were My Little Ponies this morning.
Oh man! So we constantly have to figure out how do we spend time with her and our focus with her, but then also have time for our company. And it's been kind of difficult rearranging that, where we're used to being able to work through a few days a week, just me and Kristine, focusing on our energy and on our work. And then we can be totally present when our daughter gets home. Now we're trying to balance, how do we be present with her, but also remind her that, hey, I want to be spending time with you. I just need to finish some work real quick, or mommy's going to finish some work. I'll spend some time with you.
Taking shifts
and balancing the shifts. So we'll kind of tap in and tap out. Somebody might wake up and get the morning shift, and then at noon we'll switch or something like that. So it's been a little
tricky. I mean, even today I was showing Calen a film, and Zelie was like, Mommy, please stop that.
Turn it down. It's too loud.
Turn it down. It's like, great. Glad I have a good support system here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's been really tricky. I mean, I'm sure you guys are probably in the same boat.
Oh yeah. We Wichita was put in, stay-at-home lockdown at midnight last night. So for 30 days, other than essential businesses. So we've been the same way. And I think Kansas was the first state in the country to cancel school for the rest of the school year.
Oh, and congratulations. Way to set the bar.
Yeah.
Kansas.
Giving everybody the bad idea.
And so many things.
Yeah.
No, it's not a bad idea. As a matter of fact,
and so Jen and I, where some of us, that do this full time, that work at home, have a little advantage over to other people out in the workforce is, I'm used to working at home and like that kind of stuff, but it's still different, especially when it's school year time and you want to of course your daughter's not in school yet, but you still want to have some structure and that kind of stuff. So Jen has actually been really good about, she found some, if you go into Pinterest and you type in like coronavirus or COVID, it's just all of these like school schedules. Like here's a daily schedule that you can follow, to keep stuff organized with your kids and stuff. So she found one, and we've been following, in the morning we're going to do yoga with our kids, and then they have some like learning time, and then we have craft time and lunch and all that kind of stuff.
Really
so
cool.
Advice to people out there that are stuck at home, especially if you have children, if you can figure out some sort of system to block the day off and say, okay, now we're going to do this, that has helped us, and then I know that maybe one morning this week, it's kind of been like alternating mornings where Jen will do a morning, then I do the morning, and then just kind of back and forth. So that's been really helpful to us. So
it's a really good
helpful,
idea.
yeah.
We're like such whimsical little parents. I'm like, well, mommy wants to play guitar right now. And
Yes, playing some musical instruments in this downtime. Starting up a little band. We'll come back strong and have our first concert after.
Yeah, we're just not very
pandemic
structured, though, and so I feel like that would probably be so good for us.
Yeah. So Pinterest, just look up, type in coronavirus. You can find all sorts of stuff on there. But one
for the
thing,
parent tip.
yeah, one thing that I wanted to touch base on, you kind of touched on it a little bit ago. We're talking about last year in your filmings, and you actually had like split stuff up and work. Calen's at one wedding, Kristine's in another, and just getting all that figured out. So Alexandra asked a question in our group when we dropped that in our Facebook group earlier today. What are some tips on working together as a husband and wife team that you just that you can maybe share about? Maybe you guys get this question a lot, but just talk about that.
Yeah. So I feel like the first thing that you should do if you're considering it is take a look at your relationship and just make sure that that this like the two of you, like your core relationship is more important than any creative ambition, any career idea, anything. Calen and I are both entrepreneurs at heart. And so I feel like I kind of look at my life and think like there's so many things that I'm going to do as like an entrepreneur, so many like ideas, so many pursuits, and but I think understanding at like a really deep level that me and Calen are like, Calen is like my backbone, my core, my biggest supporter and things like that. And establishing that between the two of you is probably the first step. And then the next step is deciding if you have the right personality types for it. Because I genuinely think that it works for some couples and it doesn't work for all couples. And the couples that it worked for, it really doesn't mean that you have a better, stronger relationship. It just means you might just have the right personality types. Maybe, the way that you handle conflict and things like that is just something you've worked on and you understand how to do in a healthy manner and stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like those are like the two first things that you should identify.
And then just have, open communication on things. So kind of chat about what aspect of this creative art that you enjoy the most. Find out what things maybe someone likes more of, while the other one's, hey, I think I'm interested in editing, or someone's like, I think I'm interested in editing too. Well, talk through some other things. Well, do you think you're going to enjoy a little bit more of the color grading, or do you think you like to be a little bit more organized? And kind of find the strengths of each person and then kind of adapt them to the creative art that you're doing, so that you're not totally stepping on each other's toes, kind of giving each other space and an area to take charge in and be successful at. So I think early on I thought I wanted to be the editor, and Kristine was like, well, you're busy doing some other stuff and you're not taking charge with editing. I'm just going to do it. And so during that time, she started doing it. And after a few weddings or after a few projects, we realized she's definitely got a good knack and a talent for it. So let's continue that. And whenever I would work on it, I'm like, okay, I want to touch it and I want to edit. So the part that I actually connected with more on the editing was more of the finishing work of a project. And I think that's what kind of helped me identify, okay, I still love the editing, but I love this part of the editing, post-production. And that was helpful in identifying our strengths and then allowing each other and empowering each other to take that part of the production aspect of it and just run with it.
I also kind of like that because it like kind of reminds each other that we both have a value to bring to this company. And that's really important. I feel like if I don't feel like a valuable asset, then I'm like ready to leave, or whatever. Yeah. And so that's been really, really good for us as well.
Or maybe even both don't even like editing at all, but we both love filming, but we also kind of know the direction we want. We'll also find people that are better at certain things than you and kind of learn to work with them and have them join your team, or seek out, say, an editor, and that person you can work with and identify your style. And then, so you can still do the things that you love to do while not being bogged down by the stuff that you're not as enthusiastic about.
Yeah. And then also remembering that you will have really terrible days, and that is very normal. And you will like get upset with each other, and it's not all beautiful roses and butterflies. It's like hard work. It's just like raising kids, like co-parenting. You're gonna like disagree on things, and you're gonna have to like work through conflict. And I feel like those are just really important things too. Yeah. And also it could be like the best thing ever. And that's genuinely how Calen and I feel. Like, so. And
lastly, probably adding to this, because I know it's extending, but if you get to the point where you're realizing, hey, we're starting to get on each other's nerves, we're not really connecting well, and then it starts affecting the relationship or the partnership, then you need to maybe discuss this before you get involved, where, hey, if we get to this stage, or this is the barrier that we want to set, let's make sure that we go ahead and separate that so that we still have our core strong, Yeah. I think that's important too.
It's been really good.
Yeah. Man, that's all super, really, really good advice. Planning ahead. I really like that thought, especially if you're, just now thinking about, and we're specifically talking about husband and wives, but this is even, like a partnership with two people that aren't married, like having a business together and just forming all these things. The first time, and I didn't even realize this, but this is going to make John roll his eyes a little bit, I think. The first time I ever heard about the Enneagram was whenever you guys made your video about working with a husband and wife. And I was like, what is this thing? And then it was like 6 months later I got into it, and then you guys started talking about that. Not that, that's the end all be all about personality, but if you look into personality types and personality tests, like the Enneagram, like the Myers-Briggs, like the, there's a Strengths Finder book, where you can take a test and figure out what you're good at. If you can figure out those things and figure out what you're good at and where your strengths are and how you operate with another person, that's going to, and then stick to those things, that I think is going to help you in your business, because there are so many things that I think that I'm really good at just because I want to do them, or I think I have to do them, but Jen is so much better at them. If I would just not, I've learned now, just let her do it because she's better than me. But if I wouldn't have, pushed that so far, like we would be even further along, as a couple, as a business, all that kind of stuff. So, I love you guys talking about those things. Something that
don't
I know.
Don't get started on the Enneagram. Be here for 45 minutes. Woo! Wasted your time.
John would love it if we.
Nick acts like I don't like the Enneagram.
He doesn't.
I love the Enneagram. Nick thinks that because of the fact that I'm a number 3, that I'm exactly this box, and this is not true. And he's like, "You're this because you're a 3. This is so 3 of you to do." And it's like, hey, bro,
you don't know me.
You don't know me. And he's like, that's what a 3 would say. That's what a 3 would say. He like rubs my face in it. It's like, okay, the 3 is the best one, obviously.
Yeah. Nick, you got to know there's like subtypes and tri-types. It gets real deep. And then
I know that stuff. Well, I know that there is that stuff.
He will tell you about it.
Right. But, in typical 3 fashion, I'll talk all about it like I know it when I have no clue and I'm talking out of my butt. So.
Wait, what both numbers are you? What, Nick, were you then?
I have put myself, I have some sort of 3 in me. So I'm either a 2 with a 3 wing or a 3 with a 2 wing, or I might be a 6 and then go to 3 in, stress or whatever.
Or health,
or health, or I don't even know one of those things.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. When we first came out with that, by the way, we thought that I was a 9, and we definitely know all my close friends. I just touched the mic. Sorry, guys. When we first came out with our Enneagram stuff, when we were talking about it in that episode, we definitely thought that I was a 9 at the time. And so it's okay to like rediscover, because I definitely, like, all of my close friends are laughing now. They're like, oh my gosh, you are 100% a 3-wing 4. It is hilarious how much of a 3-wing 4 you are.
Yeah.
And the fact that I spent like years thinking, oh, I'm a 9, but it's because I was having so many health issues and was in like a stress state. I was definitely like in a stress state for a long time, which 3s go to 9 in stress.
And I'm a 1, even though Aaron Tharp likes to bicker about that and thinks that I'm something else. He constantly says, Yeah, right.
Aaron started with
So
of 3.
he's convinced.
And I understand why, but I truly think Calen's core needs are 1.
He's the king of this Enneagram.
Aaron has me going through kind of a self
rediscovery.
Yeah, and like it's stressing. Yeah, it's stressing me out. So, anyways, okay, let's talk about things that maybe people might be more interested in about.
I think this is very interesting. I think this is very interesting in what Kristine said, which is the next kind of topic. Is she said that when she goes into stress, she goes into 9, and that's what she thought she was.
Yeah.
And my wife is dealing with something very similar, and you guys have been dealing with this, Kristine, and you've been working through it just with your health and like taking time for you over the last, 2 years or so. I wanted to just kind of open up the conversation about, taking care of you, taking care of your own health, different stages of your business. Because I think, we see like people like Gary Vaynerchuk saying, hustle, hustle, hustle. And you all these go all the time. You got to be, nose to the grindstone all the time. And I feel like there's a fundamental shift happening on the planet of taking more self-care and more time for you. So I know you guys have been doing a lot. Would love to just kind of open up the conversation about like what you've been doing, what you've been going through, what steps you've taken, and then just maybe talk to those people out there that feel like they have to be going so hard and how that could be detrimental to them.
Let me tell you about, can I take this one?
I thought you would.
Yeah. I see, I definitely see that a lot sometimes in Facebook groups about like hustle, and you should be charging what you're worth, and you shouldn't be traveling for free. That's like terrible, and blah, blah, blah. And I think I just look back on our company. I've been looking back on our company a lot and just thinking like our needs as the owners of our company has shifted so dramatically over the course of our 8 years. There was a time when I literally looked at Calen and said, we live in Orlando, Florida, and Orlando, Florida is incredible, in case you don't know this. But at the time, I had this very unsettled, this is not home sense in my body. And so I looked at Calen and said, like, we're going to use this company. I want to travel more. Like, I want to be away from home more than I am home. And that was like traveling was our core need as a company. Like this is what we were doing with this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so what we did was we structured our company around that and said, we're going to take the average amount. This is really funny. There were some times when traveling only cost us like $200. We would book something
outside the state. Yeah.
Yeah. Outside of the state. So we had the companion pass for flights. We would just get a rental car sometimes, depending on what city you're going to. It's not always necessary. We would oftentimes stay with friends and family, and we were just traveling as cheap as we could possibly do. And so for us, we took the average amount, which I think we ended up calculating was around like $700 maybe.
For two of us for like a 3-day travel. Yeah.
And we just added it on top of the cost and said, hey, free travel. And I think at the time we were booking between $4,000 and $6,000 weddings. I don't remember.
Right around 4,000.
Somewhere between that. I think that was the range. And for us, our company was like a way for us as young 20s to just travel. And so sometimes when I see people who are like, you should be charging for travel always, like you're embarrassing to the industry and stuff. I'm like, no. Actually, like that kind of completely removes the idea that maybe they're in a place in life when they can travel cheap and it's all they want to do. And I think that that's really beautiful. Well, then we moved to Denver and all we wanted to do was stay home because we love Denver.
Well, shoot. Yeah. We wanted to try to film more local work if possible.
In that case, we added our cost of travel. Or in reality, we had been charging the whole time. It was the way that we were marketing it. So then we'd say, here's our price plus travel. And we tried to stay home a little bit more. In reality, we get the travel bug a little bit too much.
But also at that point, by having a kid, we realized, okay, we need to charge for travel. We no longer can. And so it kind of forced us to do it. And we realized couples were still not blinking an eye at it. So we're like, okay, this is manageable. And they're willing to pay for it because, I mean, at first we thought this is a very high expense, but in reality, it's expected whenever you're kind of coming from a different state.
Then we were building out our company to accommodate, to have more employees. So we hired on an employee, and the reality is we really enjoyed it. We had an intern at one point. We had a business
office
developer.
Space.
We were adding photography, an office space. And we were like thriving in that growth stage. And then my health shut down. I had all kinds of stuff. If you don't know, I got diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease. I'm still kind of treating a lot of stuff, but for the most part, I've cleared up a lot of stuff. I'm way back to normal. But at the time I'm not kidding when I say this. It was really hard for me to keep eye contact at one point, because my mind couldn't focus, and I was like looking everywhere. Sometimes I would just like pass out. It was getting super scary. Like my health was shutting down. So then we had to completely restructure our company around allowing me to heal. And we pulled back. Colton was our associate, and he wanted to try other creative pursuits and film. He wanted to pull out from the company. So we went ahead and gave him space to do that, which meant that that was why we started splitting up and stuff like that. And so we started doing that. But for the most part, we pulled back a lot on our company growth to allow for healing and things like that.
But at the same time, though, because as we're shifting over years with what's important to us and what's kind of our core values, at that point, health is our value, but also it allowed us to think, okay, if we want to take this path where health is primary focus and also we need space to spend time with our daughter, or we want to try to shoot local, it also allowed, okay, what else can we do during this season that still fits into line with our vision and passion? And a lot of that was also, hey, we can spend more time creating more course material or education. And so that also, I'm not looking at as your health is something that pulled us back, but I think it allowed us to see another opportunity and another way to grow. And so that's where we adapted, and we're like, okay, we love to speak, we love to give to others and kind of increase our knowledge of things as well as we're learning and training. So that is something that we started pursuing while we're also doing that. So I think as we're growing, we're just kind of adapting to the environments that we're in and reevaluating every year. I would say every 2 years is kind of the time where it's a good reevaluation, and we're adjusting our core values to not necessarily what's good for our company, but what's also good for us and what creates wholeness in us.
Yeah,
and I think that's why
I feel like where we're all going with this is it's important to evaluate what it is that you want from your company, because I see a lot of people pushing their wants on other companies, and I think that that's so silly. Like, no, not everybody's got a mortgage. Not everybody is paying even a lot in rent. We've genuinely had the silliest, cheapest rent because we've had roommates and things like that. So our monthly expenses were so low when we first started our company. It made it really easy to just dive right in. And but now we have a child, now we have a mortgage, and we have all of
passion
these other
shift,
and also have a lot of creative pursuits on the side that we really enjoy doing. And so now our company is supporting those things, versus before it was like a tool to explore and try things and live and travel and things like that. And so I think that that's really important. And also just something I want to encourage our community in is just to evaluate what it is that you want from your company, and also don't push that on other people, because it's at the end of the day, your monthly expenses could be 5 times the amount of someone else's. And so what makes sense for you might not make sense for other people. And so I think it's really, it's an important thing. I'm surprised more people don't talk about that.
Yeah. Go figure that in 8 years of running a business, you might change your mind on what's important to you and how you run it. And, yes. it's like people grow or something,
one of the weird idea.
Yeah. One of the things that has grown with you guys as you've shifted your business and stuff is your branding, and I know you're kind of morphing that and changing that a little bit, and we definitely want to talk about that, what you've been up to over the last year when it comes to your brand, and we'll talk about that right after this break.
So tell me, what CRM do you use? If you're not sure or you don't know what a CRM is, I'm about to save you a lot of time and therefore money. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. Basically, a CRM is an online service that helps you better serve your clients. HoneyBook is both mine and John's CRM of choice. We absolutely love it. HoneyBook allows us to do all of our correspondence, contracts, and payments all in one place. One of the features that I love is the automated workflow.
We all have emails that we send out to all of our clients, right? At 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, the week of. All of us do it. Automated workflows make it so that those emails can go out automatically. Since I don't have to take time to, 1, remember to send them out, and 2, to write them, I save time and make more money by working more efficiently. Are you interested in saving time on the business side of things? Go to howtofilmweddings.com/honeybook for a free 1-week trial. Also, because the Honeybooks really like me and John, we can give you $200 off of your first year, and that also comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Go to howtofilmweddings.com/honeybook to start saving lots of time in your business. Oh yeah, legally I have to tell you that John and I are affiliates of Honeybook.
And we're back from our break.
Yeah, we're back.
What I was talking about before we did that was branding, and Calen and Kristine are amazing at it. If you look at their web, like, as long as I've been following you guys, like, your branding has been amazing and all that. So I want you guys to just talk about how I know you've gone from a more like outdoor adventure-y kind of vibe to a more kind of elegant, kind of upscale, more vibe. So why don't you just talk about over the last year what your branding has kind of shifted and your thoughts about that, and talk about that.
Yeah, this is you, babe.
Man, I think I appreciate what you said about our branding. For me, also as a 1, I'm thinking, man, this is not good enough. I need to work on this. So we were also in the process of doing a little overhaul with our website and our logo during this season too. So we're working on kind of adapting to this new direction that we're kind of taking. And again, as we've mentioned before, where we were in this season where we love to travel. And with traveling, there were places that we wanted to visit. And a lot of those locations were more along the lines of elopements or places that were unique, that had really great connection with the couple. And so we loved pursuing more of this outdoorsy elopement, passionate couples kind of focus. And that's also whenever we switched with camera gear over to the GH5 from Panasonic and going a little bit more handheld. And so it kind of morphed into adapting to this new camera system, connecting with these couples in this new location and vibe, and then the colors that we were creating with our films and kind of color grading kind of created this space where it was, just adapted more to more of a moody, adventurous, outdoorsy style, I think. And that was our stage in life. And I think we loved that and we were enjoying that. And then we started reevaluating, okay, we want to shoot more in Colorado, or do we want to travel less? Do we want to charge more for our packages? And I think we started recognizing areas that we wanted to grow in. And for me, I'm always wanting to be challenged and I always want to try new things. And I think that's why I've pushed our company in different ways with gear or looks that kind of have set us up for it. It hasn't been a consistent look over the past 6 years. It's been adapting. And I think at the stage that we're at now is I wanted to be challenged in the mindset of I'm interested in more of these higher end luxury markets that have a lot more attention to detail, that have more elaborate, locations, not necessarily locations, but more designs and floral arrangements and everything. And you're kind of working with certain planners and certain photographers that have a different approach. And so I wanted to try that out, I think. And so we started adapting to that, adjusting our pricing accordingly, connecting with more photographers in that market, and also second shooting for other filmmakers that were in that industry. And I think getting a taste of it, that was a good way for us to kind of get the taste of this new market and this new endeavor and seeing, hey, is this something we want to kind of go into? So if you're kind of curious about that, try to reach out to some other filmmakers that are probably shooting in that way and see if you can second shoot for them or shadow or offer your services to assist to kind of get a good perspective of that. And I think that was one of the ways that we kind of identified, hey, this is something I would love to do. And so that morphed into a little bit of a different style and adapting to that environment. And part of that was recognizing the look the type of photographers these planners were recommending to their couples, and also the style and the colors and the attention to detail and the personality from the vendors. So that's where we started adapting and adjusting our style. So we started shooting more backlit. We started having more bright and airy approach instead of protecting the highlights and putting couples in moody environments. We might still, if that's part of their story, but most of the type of weddings that we're filming are along the lines of, a film photographer, which is more backlit and has more pastel colors. So that's kind of where we started adapting our color grading, adapting our shooting environment, our style, and choosing gear accordingly. And that's why we've kind of taken a different approach in the past year, where now our packages, I would say, since we're only taking about 5 to 10 weddings every year now, or at least for 2020, we're focusing on, less weddings, higher budgets, so, and also we've decided as a company that we want to shoot multi-day, events. So if we're taking that many a year, well, let's shoot a full weekend of couples, so we're focusing on a couple that wants a full story, a full experience of their weekend. So that might be rehearsal coverage, that might be an additional day of coverage where we venture out with the couple and kind of tell their story in that unique way. So all our packages are at least 10 grand kind of now as we've adjusted to that environment. And also planners expect that kind of budget. And most of our work now, where a lot of it used to come before with, Google searches or Instagram. A lot of it now is coming from photographers that we also love to work with, planners that love our style and our work, that see the difference in our work compared to other filmmakers, and they want to recommend us. And then also we still do get leads from Instagram a lot. That's a big lead generator for us, where couples will reach out, hey, are you available for a date? And we'll, continue the conversation through our website and connect with them. And we've booked weddings that are still in that market, even through Instagram. So it's not just, lower budgets. So that's encouraging to see that our market's kind of expanded, and we've adjusted the past year to that.
Wow.
There's that.
That was a lot. Sorry.
Well,
That was good.
No,
It's good. And
yeah.
I agree. There's so many things, as you're growing as a company and you're thinking about what's important to you, and you're wanting to, I remember I was doing a lot of destination weddings 7 or 8 years ago, and was like, man, I just want to be home more. I want to do some of these nicer weddings here. And so I had to change the way everything looked on my site and every type of video I put out there, and really started catering towards more ballroom weddings, and, some of these luxury event designers that I'm friends with, or photographers, film photographers. And I'm over on your website right now, and it's I'm drooling, wishing that I had, the look and the feel that you have. And as a one, it's funny to, the little I know of Calen and interacting with him, he reads everything on every single manual of every camera he buys. He watched through every second of our course. He's watched through, he is very thorough in his approach to things. That's why his colors are the way they are, or that's why one of the main reasons why you guys are the way that you are. Mm-hmm. And when it comes down to branding, I think my thought or question, and I'm wanting to get you to answer for the community, is for the people that are out there kind of struggling with their branding, what are some tips that you would give them, or what did you do at the beginning especially to really define your brand, those kinds of things? What would you give tip-wise to people that are trying to really
defining your
brand
market,
themselves?
right?
Well, I feel branding can be, whenever we think of brand, we instantly think of logo. But sure. I think of brand as more, your core, which is your personalities that are part of your brand, the look of your brand, which is obviously your logo and design, the website, which is experience, and then also definitely your films, the style that you create. I think all that adds, and then also your social media presence, all this is kind of building this collection of brand. And so if you just put all your attention on just logo and design, but your personalities don't match that, or your style of films aren't elevated by that experience, then I think there's a disconnect. So you want to have a cohesive brand, which is kind of putting all those puzzle pieces together that tell a story and tell a core experience that you want your couples to connect with.
Well, I think one of the biggest things about branding as well is who's your market? Who are you trying to get? Are you wanting luxury brides and grooms, or are you wanting like these adventure weddings? And defining that, I think, is probably one of the first steps in any sort of branding stuff that you're doing. Like actually visualize the people that you're working with. Are they designers, or are they attorneys, or do you really love like military weddings or Indian weddings, or like define it, and don't just say one. Like you can have several different types of people on there. But I still feel like that has been like an important part for us. And then just saying, okay, how do we reach those people, and what does that look like? And shifting our color grading whenever we were wanting to get into the more luxury market was like a big thing, because we were like, okay, if they're looking in the luxury market at these luxury photographers, doesn't it just make sense to have a more luxury feel to our color grade? And that was a big part of that shift.
And so now we're kind of adjusting, okay, our website, I want to change our color scheme that might not be so dark and moody. So even our profile pictures that are on our website, we're wanting to update that will reflect the brand, because right now they're kind of very moody based. And obviously you guys kind of understand that style with some of your pictures for the music bed playlist inspiration, which is absolutely awesome.
Mood.
And
Yeah, we do.
It's all encompassing. Yeah. So that's why we're, I feel like we're kind of adjusting that, so that whenever we send out a lead to a couple, we show, hey, here's our films and our styles. We've removed films that we still love and connect, but it might not be our core market, like Kristine's saying. Mm-hmm. So we're adapting our brand to reflect the market that we want to appeal to.
Yeah. And I will say too, like when it comes down to it, it's the like luxury, adventurous, blah, blah, blah. Our biggest filter is always going to be the types of people we're working with. Yeah. We always are searching more so than anything for the people that we feel line up with our core, like, style and personality, which we just want to, what was a 4-tier thing that we
So we have four pillars that we've kind of developed as this is the 4 core things that we look for whenever we're looking for an ideal client. And then this isn't necessarily on our website, but in other words and keywords will kind of reflect that. Our first pillar is chemistry. So the couple needs to have chemistry together. I think whenever we looked back and analyzed our films and things that we were drawn to in stories was whenever couples had great chemistry, that was an awesome pillar that we want to focus on. So chemistry, location was another pillar. Is this location somewhere where we want to film, or is it local to our market where we want to spend more time in? So location was a second pillar. Third was vendors. We realized as we analyzed the films that we love to be a part of, it made it an amazing experience for us and the couple when there was a core, strong group of vendors. So if there's certain vendors that we know that are going to be a part of a wedding, that is going to usually push us up to the top of where we want to pursue this lead and really see if we can book this wedding, because we know these vendors are going to be there and it's going to be an amazing experience, and we can add to that experience because we worked with them before. And then the fourth one is price, which is this something that we want to work with? If we're only taking 5 to 10 weddings, will this still allow us to provide for our family? You know what I mean? And so we looked at those 4 pillars and we realized out of all those 4, most of the time we can usually we could sacrifice one if all 3 other ones are in place. So if the budget isn't there, but they have an amazing vendor team, awesome location, and the couple has amazing chemistry, we might take that, Yeah. But hey, the location isn't great, but they have amazing chemistry, great vendors, and it meets our budget requirements. I think that's where we realized that's how we kind of analyzed it. And so setting up a 4 pillars that reflected our brand was really key in identifying
that was important for us for our stage right now that we're in. As we were trying to decide, we get a ton of inquiries, and it's like, how do you say yes or no on any of these? Like, what's the defining whatever? And so that was really helpful for us when we first started. If you're in your first year, don't do this. You need to be working on
get practice.
Get practice. Don't worry about things like this, and then you'll start discovering who the vendors are that you love to work with and what are the qualities. For some people, like for us, the experience of the wedding is so huge for us. That is one of the most, like, that is, well, when we leave and feel satisfied with our work at the end of the day, it's when the experience is great and we were able to have fun and, can grab Calen's butt while working, at some point, sneak a smooch, You know, like the
Boom.
experience is such a big
My
thing
shots
for
just get
us.
so much better after a solid smooch.
But
It's like, did you see that shot, babe?
But for a lot of people, like the paycheck is the most important. That's what's like is really what is satisfying them the most is when they're saying like, you know what, like all of those things don't matter as much to me. It's just the satisfaction of knowing that I'm providing for my family.
Or like hiring, like building out a team. And so you're creating work for other people.
Yeah.
And so that is part of your drive.
There's so many different things. So that's been really helpful for us. But I also want to reiterate that that's like the stage we're at in our company. And that's not for everybody. And
might adjust in 2 years.
Yeah. And that's okay. And it might adjust in 2 years. So who knows? I'm open for shifts.
Okay.
For shifts.
Love it.
Sound like I was about to say something else.
Really, really solid advice. All of
explicit
that.
there.
You should be taking notes if you're listening. You should be rewinding that, hitting the 30 seconds back button, and take a bunch of notes from what they just said.
Yes,
Nice.
definitely do that. Which now we're going to shift into our question of the day presented by Wedditor. Wedditor, more than freelance, more than outsourcing. And this one comes from Michael, and he says, if you're starting out as a new wedding videographer, how would you raise your price in a very competitive market with tons of new companies offering their services way below the market average? Would you advise following the crowd if it ends up getting you more bookings?
Yeah, this so back to identifying what is it that you're wanting. Are you wanting more bookings? Are you wanting? But for us, I know when we were raising our pricing, one of the best things that we did was find something that made us stand out for it, like among our competitors, and that for us was same day edits. When we first started like doing them 7 years ago, there really wasn't a lot of people who do it. Even still, when I do it, I still find the other vendors who are like, I've never seen this before, which blows my mind because I feel like same day edits are pretty popular now. But finding something that really makes you stand out, that could be something like after every wedding, within 2 days, you send out social media collections to the coordinator and say, wow, you were awesome. It was great to work with you. I just want to send this to you to make sure you know how much I loved working with you. Or I don't know, phrase that in a way that's a little less brown nosing. But like doing
Pick
things
me.
like that, like finding things like that. Like you'll notice we do that. Like sometimes I'll even grab the coordinator and say, hey, this looks awesome. This table setup is awesome. Why don't we do a shot where you're just out there like adjusting things and then you'll have it for your social media stuff. And like the number of times they
You
look
did that
at me,
like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I did it like 2 weeks ago because I really liked the coordinators. They were professional. They were organized. I would work with them. Like 10 out of 10 would work out with them again, you know? And she looked at me like, whoa, wait, would you really do that?
Like you'd
Is that really real? Like she looked so taken back by the idea. And I was like, yeah, of course. So we like walked out and she was just, we got a little bit of stuff of her like adjusting everything and working through
got some direction, but I mean, we got our shots, but then also had some directed shots of them, you know, engaged with their
It is so easy to do that. And it's such a great way to love on your vendors and show them how much you appreciate them. Of course, you could send them an email at the end of the day and just be like, hey, it was great working with you. But like, I feel like that's just like the extra layer that can make you stand out just a little bit more. That is one of probably a gazillion ideas that you could come up with.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
ways to make you like stand out to other coordinators, to other
vendors.
We used to get, there was a florist at one point that would send us work because she just loved working with us and knew that we would always showcase her work in our films because we loved them. We just like, I think at the end of the day, we were like leaving the venue, saw them in the elevator, started talking to them, and we just all had a connection. And immediately I was like, I'm going to start like promoting them a little bit more. And from there, we were getting leads from a florist, which I think is an unusual way to get leads for videographers, but it worked. Doing social media stuff in general is going to make you stand out a little bit more. If you're just making, oh my gosh, who's killing it right now? Ori. If you don't know who, I think it's like @oski Films.
OSKI.
I'll probably make her the woman of the day or woman of the week that we're featuring as a filmmaker because we've been doing that. We've been like promoting women.
The Wednesday, yeah.
I feel like she has been killing it lately with like just small social media stuff that's just like, here's a glimpse of something beautiful that's going to like leave you feeling inspired. And it's just amazing. I think it's great.
Another thing too, because that again is becoming word of mouth, and that will convert better than if a bride's looking at you online and connecting you with other vendors and someone's undercutting. But if you have somebody word of mouth, they're more likely to convert as a solid lead. So that's another direction you could go with leads. Obviously, if you're taking something, if you want the lead and you need it, and you need to drop your price to get that lead, and there's a reason for that. Hey, this might be able to get featured, or I really just need the funds for this month. That could be a solid reason. And so, undercutting a little bit, but also connecting with your competition, which might sound a little bit weird, and saying, hey, I would love to second shoot for you, even for free, just to show you, that I would love to be a solid, additional shooter for you if you ever need that. But what that does is it puts them on the radar. And once you work with them, if they're getting leads that they can't take, they will send it to somebody that they trust. Just like we send a lot of leads to people that we've worked with in the past, that we've mentored, that we know, that understand our style, that are in the price range now. And so, hey, we've worked with them, we connected with them, and we're going to send you leads because you understand what the couple's looking for, because they were looking at for us. So that might sound a little, different, is connecting with your competition, but some people don't want to connect with you. So that's also understanding that balance. But there's a few different
don't
ways.
be offended if you're reaching out to someone and they're like, not at this time, the number of times I've had to say not at this time, because we only shoot like we only film a limited amount of, I'm trying to but that shift. I feel like it's weird when people say I shoot weddings. I'm like, no, we film weddings. Don't say that here in America. It's very weird, just different.
What?
We're trying to check that.
It's like saying phrasing. Wedding party instead of bridal party. You know what I mean? Kind of shifting to a little bit more of a...
It's really funny if you start thinking about it. It's like, oh my gosh, I should be saying filming weddings.
Or also I'm talking about, what's my ideal bride? I'm like, well, what's my ideal couple? Sometimes it's not just the bride that's looking for. We've had, also grooms look out for us.
Yeah, I tried to make sure I was cautious of how I'm phrasing that. Sorry if I didn't phrase that super perfect. It's okay. That's okay. But those are all really important key things to be thinking about, and also to remember not to be offended if you reach out to a company and they're like, oh gosh, I can't handle this right now, or I won't have the space to be able to bring on another person on my team, or as of right now, I'm those are all the answers they probably aren't vocalizing is right now I don't have the space in my schedule to be able to start training a new person, or right now I'm really focusing on the people who I'm already working with, that's totally fine. Yeah, those are all probably the things that they mean to say when they just say, sorry, I can't help you at this time. Mm-hmm. So just don't be offended if someone doesn't come back and say, oh yeah, come assist me. This is going to be awesome. Because we have to turn down people all the time for that.
It's always interesting to me. You said something a second ago. One of the ideas was just the referrals from somebody else are way better than just you're going to stand out way more with referrals from somebody else. And, for me, my main big 10,000 plus weddings all come from 3 different planners and 3 other photographers. So if it's one of those 6 people, it's 80% of my work, and, cultivating those relationships and taking care of those people. And there's just something about like you said, having the correct team in place and having, I just did a wedding a couple weeks ago where it's the photographer that I love working with and the planner and the florist. And it's just a perfect day, a beautiful wedding. Mm-hmm. And they didn't even question whenever I told them my prices. It was you have to book John because he's who we work with. And so it was just an easy thing. Yeah. And so that takes time to get to that. And I know that you guys talk a ton about building and branding and all that at Venture Workshop, which I want to talk about. I'm really excited to talk about that, and we're going to talk about it right after this break. Do you remember that wedding from a month ago? Yeah, that one that you needed to start editing yesterday? But you also need to prep today for your wedding tomorrow, and you're leaving for your first vacation in forever on Monday. So what do? It seems that the only creative part of your edits are the excuses you're going to have to give your clients. We have the solution, Wedditor. Wedditor is a team of top wedding editors, project managers, and account coordinators that help us wedding filmmakers edit. They match the right editors with your style so you can spend your time where it matters most, on your business. Nick and I both use Wedditor, and we don't know how we would run our companies without them. It takes a team to build an amazing business, and you shouldn't try to do it all on your own. Head over to howtofilmweddings.com/Wedditor to help you free up your time so that you can focus on growing your brand. Be sure to use promo code HTFW for $50 off your first project. Wedditor, more than freelance, more than outsourcing. We know the time suck that is searching for the perfect song for your wedding film. MusicBed has spent years collaborating with artists, bands, and composers to make it easier than ever for anyone to find the right song for their video.
With amazing artists like Chapters, Tony Anderson, and The Light, The Heat, MusicBed is the best place for wedding videographers to get licensed music.
Their subscription service was a life changer for me, especially since all of their subscription music is pre-cleared for every social media platform: Facebook, Instagram, Love Stories TV, and my personal favorite, YouTube, all pre-cleared.
And if you are interested in a free month of a MusicBed wedding subscription, head over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed. When you sign up, use the promo code HTFW and you will get your first month for free.
All right, and we are back with Chrissy and Calen from White and Reverie. Now I want to shift the conversation and talk about the workshop of all workshops, Venture Workshop. It's coming up in May, or is it? Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about it, what's going on with it, and let the community know kind of what is going on with all this Corona stuff.
So Venture Workshop, a place where all wedding videographers are welcome, but 6 feet of distance away from each other. Just kidding. Imagine hosting a workshop where everybody is 6. You know the size of space you need to have for over 100 people to attend.
Yeah, that would be nuts. Well, let's start from the beginning. What is Venture Workshop? We are... so basically what happened was we just genuinely love the filmmaker community. Some of our favorite friends that we've ever met are from the filmmaker community. They're photographers or just from videographers or any of it. And so we were starting to do smaller little things. Like I used to do like wine Wednesdays or something like that, where like the girls that are filmmakers in our local community could like get together and drink wine together. And we've just always been like in love with the community. And so it just felt natural to start doing workshops where we could just have everybody get together. It started, our first one was in Iceland. This was not Venture, but it was in Iceland.
It's called Ice Workshop. It was our first experience. It was like 12 people that flew out to attend a workshop. Our first one hosted, and it was an amazing experience.
Awesome. So awesome.
Still in communication with some of those filmmakers.
Yeah, it's super cool. And we just love like the community aspect of it. The amount of like friends that we still talk to from that workshop is just amazing. And later on in the year, we were talking to a few other filmmakers, and we were just like, hey, we want to always encourage that community. Let's do like a small workshop out in the mountains of Colorado.
Yeah, we all just wanted to hang out. So
yeah, and we did, and we met some of the. I mean, Becca was there. Becca, our now roommate, was there.
If you come to Venture, you could be our roommate.
Caitlin and I are pretty extreme extroverts, if you don't know this already. And so the idea of having a roommate is like the best. Like we love it. And so we've been wanting a roommate lately, and Becca now moved in.
And Nick, you were part of that first Venture.
Nick
that was
there. It's first time to meet Nick.
Almost 2 years ago.
And your wonderful wife. And we, cool. And so from there, just continued to build as we were like, let's just keep doing this. Like we love it when everybody can get together. And then we started incorporating dance parties. This is the first time we ever met John Bunn. Frankly, my first memories of John Bunn are him
karaoke,
being so surprised at how many words he knew from Bodak Yellow by Cardi B. And so like it's been really cool because I feel like it's been a very like community focused thing. Everything we're doing, we'll have time for education. Oh my gosh, Nick Miller, I remember you were there for the first time, and it was all education. And some
like from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. we're going to throw in 10 different sessions and just try to spit all of our information out. And during one of the speeches, just a couple people are just kind of sleeping or dozing off.
9 p.m.
Like so tired.
We're like, we want to give them the most for their money. It was so funny. But and then even now as it's like evolved into like the most recent venture, where it's like, okay, now we're taking a break and all we want is for you guys to go out and go do fun stuff. So we set up all kinds of stuff. People were going rock climbing. People were hanging out with us and playing pool with us. And there was like a
drone excursion
that
was an experience.
That was really funny. They got stuck in the mud with their van. It was really funny. But it's all like, it's very community focused, and we love that. And so as we've been growing, our next venture was coming up in May. And of course, there is now like so many restrictions. You can't even leave your house right now because of this virus. So we're having to postpone it. So devastated.
we are still having Venture 2020.
We still have it.
We will be announcing the date. It'll probably be live by the time this episode airs, but it'll be in October this year. And so we will have a few tickets available to sell because we're going to be opening up a few more spots since some people aren't able to make it. Yeah. And so we will have tickets available. So as this episode airs, check out ventureworkshop.co and you can get some tickets there if we have a few left. And it's going to be an amazing experience. I feel like it's going to become this is going to be the 5th year or the 5th time we've done this, by the way. And I think it's just going to be a big celebration where we all get to come and just hug each other after this crazy summer that's coming up. So it's going to be great. We have so many speakers. You guys are going to be a part of it. Both of y'all actually as presenters, which is really exciting to have you out there. Yeah. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a really great experience, but it is continuing and we are going to be having it. We're just going to be having it in October instead of May this year.
So trade your spring flowers for autumn leaves, because it's going to be around the time when it's like prime season for autumn in the city of Denver, which is where we host it. So we love it so much. We're so excited about it. We also make sure that it's not just, so you learn a lot about filmmaking, wedding specific especially, but we also bring in teachers who talk about commercial filmmaking and the transition, especially from weddings to commercial. We bring in lawyers. We're now talking about maybe trying to get a financial advisor in after such like a financial upset that has happened.
Brilliant.
We have a wellness coach that's going to be there that's going to recenter us after all this. I mean, it's going to be the number one stop for workshops. I mean, we have a lot of workshops, or there's a lot of workshops where there's photographers and videographers in the wedding space, but we really wanted to have something that's just for wedding videographers at this caliber. So it's going to be a 4-day event, which is awesome.
So we're stoked.
Yeah. I was going to say, obviously, I was there last year or whatever and was really looking forward, and I'm still really looking forward to it, but was very blown away just by, you hear, like, it's the biggest wedding videographer workshop in the world or wedding film, and it's like, oh, that's kind of intimidating, but, like, it didn't feel like this huge thing. Like, you guys did a really good job of, like, having several different little class areas or little, like, breakout areas, and then just every night there was a happy hour here, or dropping it like it's hot with Cardi B at, karaoke over there, or, making my booty talk over there. But, it was, it was so much fun. And like the people, it gives you a chance to like connect with other people that are in the same boat as you. And so, for me, it was like a lot of the podcast guests came from there, like that we've had in the last year, and just like meeting people in real life and seeing them in real life and getting to know them builds this foundation for you of people to bounce ideas off of throughout the rest of the year. And like real relationships are formed. It's not like one of these big conferences where it's like you kind of see people through the hallways or something. It's like you're all at this really cool venue and you're all just kind of interacting and doing different things and getting to know the speakers, and we're all there hanging out with, everybody. So it's an incredible experience. Like I left feeling very refreshed and energized about my entire outlook on, shooting weddings. So kudos to you guys for providing it, and we're pumped. I know Nick is probably more pumped than me because he had to miss it last year.
So. Yeah.
We still have that mug, Nick. I apologize, but you will get the freshest of mugs whenever you come this time.
The freshest of mugs.
I'm
Dude,
so excited.
I love to hear that you say that, because it is one of those things, like as we've been growing it, keeping this small sense of community and intimacy has been a huge topic. Like that's always been our favorite part of it. And so so organizing things, like setting it up and scheduling it out in a way that like allows to still have that was like such a big part of like our planning for everything. So I love to hear that you felt so much of that like community.
And we're not always going to be relevant too, as as speakers or filmmakers. So also helping elevate other people that are in the industry, and that's what's really cool about people that have come to Venture are now also speaking at Venture, which is really great.
And also supporting. Oh my gosh, last year we had, what was it, like 40% were women.
Women,
yeah. In attendance, and we made sure this year all teachers that we were considering, is there a woman that we could bring on to teach, like how can we get more women as teachers so that women in attending blah blah blah, my words are not working right now. When we were deciding who's going to be teaching this year, that was a big focus for us, was making sure we're bringing on women teachers, to make sure that women filmmakers feel that there's space for them here. Clearly they already felt that because of the fact that we had so many in attendance last year. But so that's really awesome. So if you're a woman who's on the fence about it, well, it's been sold out for so long. So I'm kind of excited to say we're going to probably have some tickets open up. But yeah.
And it's like, I mean, a lot of people from international places are coming too. I mean, people from Egypt, Canada, Mexico. I mean, there's people that are flying in for this. So it's going to be a really great experience. Well, October we should be good.
We should be good.
Yep. Anyway, that's Venture.
Yeah.
That's
So Venture is exciting. You definitely want to check that out. That's really cool that you're able to open up a few more tickets. So, ventureworkshop.co. Whenever this episode drops, if you haven't already heard about it. I know that you guys are not just Venture. You have Venture for education stuff, but I know you're also involved in some other education stuff and some LUT stuff. So I just wanted to give you a second to talk about that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, color is very important to our films and our brand. And as we've worked through the different stages and the different things that connected our couples with our films and our styles, we've created different looks and LUT packs that have you've been using over the years. So we have 3 different LUT packs that we've personally developed from White and Reverie. The first one is the Timbre LUT collection. The second one is our Dolce LUT collection, and the brand new one that we just launched a few months ago, which is more of our high-end luxury, like fine art photography look, is called Adagio. And we've really developed these to work on all different types of mirrorless and DSLR cameras, and we're putting out more resources so that people can learn how to utilize them to the extent that they can create amazing looks to their films where it just works really well, not just for Sony or not just for Panasonic, but works on, Blackmagic cameras or Fuji or something. So we've created and Canon and Nikon. I mean, let's just go all out there, right?
Heard that name before.
And so business partner Levi Tiarina and myself decided to really launch this amazing brand that kind of has a great home for these LUT packs, and we've developed a few other ones with other amazing photographers. And so if you go to gamut.io, that's GAMUT.io, we have those LUT packs available, and we've really tailored them to be specific, like 4 to 6 LUTs in this pack that work really great in a lot of different scenarios. And so that's where we've kind of placed more of some education on the coloring aspect of things, and we're going to be posting a lot more content on the YouTube channel through Gamut. So all of our stuff, we're still doing White and Reverie stuff, but we're also tailoring a lot of our coloring aspect of our education to Gamut site.
The last question kind of we have for you guys, we're talking about the Gamut, the workshop. I know most people out there in the world know where to find you on social, but why don't you give us just a couple of spots where people can connect with you, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I would say our biggest engagement is Instagram. So Instagram.com/whiteinreverie. That is where our Insta stories will give you a perspective into our personalities, while our Instagram posts are more portfolio based.
Our personalities are kind of weird. You can find those on our personal pages at Christy La La La, where you can find my nunchuck Instagram stories.
Christy La 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 with a K. Yes.
And probably guitar stuff. I'm sure after all this quarantine, I have an associate's degree in music, specializing in classical guitar. So
I have associates in recording arts and programming for audio. So our degrees are in music.
To get through this quarantine, I've just been playing guitar lately.
Yeah. But check us out on Instagram. We're starting to do things every week. So every Tuesday we're doing Gear Talk Tuesdays. Mm-hmm. So join and listen. We're going to talk about gear, and sometimes we have guest speakers on Instagram Live. And then Wednesdays we host, what is Wednesday?
We feature a woman in filmmaking that we are really inspired by. So.
And then we just started Feature Friday, which is some kind of visual that, visual or video that is inspiring us that week. So there's some really cool things that we're starting to kind of build more into our Instagram. And then obviously our website is whiteinreverie.com. YouTube and Facebook is all /whiteinreverie as well.
Love it. And we'll link it all below. Yeah. It is always so refreshing to get to see you all. Thank you for being friends and for coming back on the podcast. I know that the entire community is super thankful that you took an hour of your busy time during quarantine to speak with us. So thank you guys so much.
Thanks so much. Love you guys.
Well, thank you, Calen and Kristine, so much for coming on the podcast today. We really appreciate you taking the time. We want you to head over to howtofilmweddings.com. There you can get our brand new, that is right, brand new posing course that is John and I, about an hour and a half of footage of us just posing couples and walking through that and talking about that. So that is our brand new posing course. Head over to howtofilmweddings.com to pick that up if you are interested in it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel, rate and review us on your favorite podcatcher, and until next time, we will see ya.
See ya.